to heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We'll look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in Pete. Pete, good to see you this evening.
Hey, Derek. This was no boating accident.
No, it wasn't.
I didn't want to go with the obvious one, so.
Well, yeah. And we got Steve. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
I think we're going to need a bigger boat.
There it is.
Since Pete didn't do it, I had to do it.
Go swimming. Oh, wait, never mind.
I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Good. Guys, if you have not already, please like, subscribe, share. We've got some fun shows coming up, including some that are going to be directly tied to releases in the theaters. So, but tonight, Jaws was released 50 years ago. If there's anyone who doesn't know the story of Jaws, you're living under a rock and you need to go look it up now. But I would even argue you don't have to know the story of Jaws to watch the documentary we watched for this week, which was a documentary. It was called Jaws at 50. And it goes with, it's a documentary of the making of Jaws. It has behind the scenes footage, has interviews with cast members, and it just really dives deep into what it took to get it started, during production issues they had, different places, and post-production stuff, and then kind of the after effect of Jaws. So, Pete, I know this is Jaws is your favorite movie. So,
yes.
So yeah, I'm going to start with you.
I mean, I got the T-shirt. I'm going to pick it up, but gently. I have the Lego set. I just finished building this Lego set, so you got to be pretty dedicated to spend $150 on a Jaws Lego. But
yeah. So I'm going to ask you, in relationship to Steve's, was this a big enough documentary, or did it need a bigger documentary?
I thought this was a pretty good length documentary. I mean, it was like an hour and a half. I think if it had been much longer, it could have gotten boring. I mean, there's certainly more information I wouldn't have mind seeing about the movie, but again, I'm a huge fan of this movie. I say it's my favorite movie because, like, there's no movie that, like, if you force me to be like, you have to watch the same movie every day for a year, this would probably be the movie I'd pick, because I could watch this anytime, anywhere. So I don't necessarily think it's
that. Steve, what would your movie be?
The movie I'd watch all the time. Oh, probably the one that comes somewhat top of my head is Back to the Future.
Okay, for me it'd be Ghostbusters.
Yeah, all good choices.
Or honestly, a couple of the Disney ones I could watch every day if I had to, because I did with a young boy. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, but I really enjoyed this documentary. I mean, again, big fan of the movie. There were some things in it I didn't know about, but most of it I was pretty aware of. I mean, it's kind of famous for being the first blockbuster, they call it. And that was really because before this, a lot of the biggest movies would kind of roll out in more of a like slow roll release. I think of like The Sound of Music, Gone with the Wind, things like that. These movies would come out and would start in the big cities and then kind of move across the country, and things had kind of started changing in the 70s. And so this was the first movie, like, wide release, and it just hit with people really big. I mean, you know, you watch it now and the intensity, it's still pretty good, but I mean, there's certainly more intense movies now, but at the time there wasn't much like this. And so I think it really just caught people, and people were going back to it and things like that. So I mean, yeah, it was the number one movie for a short time. It was the number one movie of all time, right? Until
Yes.
Star Wars came out 2 years later. But yeah, I thought this really captured, it really spent a little bit of time with everything, talking about the Peter Benchley's novel, which is an interesting read because it's not really the movie. I mean, parts of the movie are in there, but there's a lot more of there's more like romance novel in it kind of going on. There's like stuff between Roy Scheider's wife and Hooper and things like that, and there's like an affair, and there's all these other things in the novel that they rightly so took out of the movie because it wasn't the important part. But you know, overall, no, I think this did a good job of spending time on all the aspects, but not taking too much time. So what did you think, Steve? Did you enjoy
I
this?
think the same. It was a right amount of time. There's some things I wish they had talked more about, but overall, I felt like it was a nice little snippets of things, and it kept it moving. So there's always something new that was coming. I know I didn't like the beginning, like, oh my gosh, like get to the movie already, because I felt like there was like a slow start, like the first few minutes of get to the movie.
Yeah, it's fair.
Otherwise, yeah.
Okay. For me, I would have liked to see more recent interviews with some of the cast. Is Roy Snyder still alive?
No, he passed away.
Okay.
And Robert Shaw died shortly
Years.
after the movie.
Yeah, not long after the movie was over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know that he actually even made the premiere, did he?
I'm not sure about that.
It was that close.
He died. It was only a year or two later, so I'm not sure of that. Richard Dreyfuss is still alive. I'm a little surprised they didn't get him.
They did a little bit.
They had
but it
clips
seemed like
of
it was
him,
an older interview.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I don't think it was current Richard Dreyfuss, but
that's fair. Robert Shaw died in '78, so 3 years later.
Yeah, I knew it was pretty close. Yeah, but so yeah, it was big enough. It was good for you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Which is interesting because I don't enjoy the movie.
Really?
The reason I don't enjoy the movie is going swimming in the ocean every year in a beach that is known as the shark attack capital of the world. New Smyrna Beach down in Florida has more shark bites per year than basically any other beach combined.
Mm-hmm.
So watching a movie about shark that can jump up at any point in time and come eat me, no thank you. Especially not as like a kid into my teens.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Well,
and it was more. I grew up in New England, so like these were my people too, right, that were in this movie. You know.
So, but I enjoyed the documentary. I watched it actually on the plane back from Florida. But it held my attention. I actually wanted to pause it and back up the stuff that I like. If something like they came around and with drinks or whatever, I liked it enough to back it up and actually watch what I missed. Yeah, I would agree, Steve, that the beginning is a little slow. Just until they actually get to talking about starting making the movie and or even to the point of where they start talking about like finding a location for it. That kind of stuff is what really brought me in. I love some of the trivia about this, which we'll get to here in about the movie Jaws, which we'll get to here in just a minute. But no, I enjoyed this. I really liked it. I would actually probably watch it again, to be perfectly honest. So, because I feel like I love these kind of behind the scenes movies, and there's enough in there that I want to go back and see if I missed anything or see what I remember and don't remember type thing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, and I liked for a movie of its time, there was like a lot of behind the scenes footage.
Yes.
I don't know if it was Steven Spielberg like using a handheld camera and filming stuff or whatever, or how that came about, but there was enough, like it wasn't just still pictures of people, which
Yeah, there
can
was actually behind the
sometimes,
scenes footage, which
yeah,
wasn't normal back then.
right. So
Yeah.
I mean, even you think about Star Wars and you see Star Wars documentaries, you never see footage of filming Star Wars, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. So I talked about, this brought up a lot of trivia, a lot of pieces of information. What was either the favorite piece of information out of this that you learned, or just your favorite piece of Jaws trivia in general? And Pete goes last on this one because I have a feeling whatever we say, he can come up with something else.
Right.
So, Steve.
Mine, I think, was the scenes where they had to rechange because their shark was not working. So like the opening scene where they had make change of plans of how they pulled that off with the rigging, and then also like when the boys were out in the raft talking about how they pulled that off with having less really of a shark, and then just more all those just cues of either music or what was happening with the editing to give you the influence of the shark. I found those fascinating, and then like how that all came together to really make the movie what it was.
Yeah, the dragging back and forth parts, and like where he would pull him under, and they would pull him under mainly so they could give him a breath of air, and then would shove him back up.
Yes.
I thought was interesting. Well, my favorite all-time piece of Jaws trivia also relates to Disney, which is the fact that the reason that the shark in Finding Nemo was named Bruce is because the shark in Jaws, the great white in Jaws, was called Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been my favorite piece of info for years. Just as a, hey, you know why he's called Bruce? It's because Jaws.
Well, and because it was Steven Spielberg's lawyer.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, but I also thought it was real interesting about how they used so many locals off Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And not just as background, but actually cast some of them into lines and such, and really brought in a very small outside in Hollywood crew in. So I thought that was, I did not realize that. So, Pete, what you got left?
Yeah, and if you watch the movie with that knowledge, you can tell a lot of them because the acting isn't the best with a lot of these people, but they they're reading their lines and everything, and it's kind of it works for the movie, but it's quite obvious that they're not professional actors. And honestly, that's kind of, I mean, even though I knew that they used a lot of locals, it was interesting to see how many of them they used for the different scenes. And like Ben Gardner, who has actually quite a few lines, that character has quite a few lines in the movie, and he ends up being one of the he ends up being one of the people that dies.
Victims,
Ben Gardner's boat is they with Roy Scheider and Richard Dreyfuss go out in Richard Dreyfuss's boat and find that in the dark, and it's one of the big jump scares in the movie. But that actor, so that was the thing I liked the best, is that they got a lot of those actors, not just the older actors, but like some of the kids that played the different roles. Those were also locals, and they interviewed some of them about their time doing it and everything like that. So that was to me kind of my favorite bit about it, because I hadn't seen that kind of stuff before. That, and that the bridge that separates the bay from where the White Tack is on Google Maps as the Jaws Bridge.
Well, and the fact that there's the sign, don't jump off the bridge, and there's about 40 people an hour that jump off of it. That's
a very common thing in New England, to bridge jumping.
Yeah.
I've never done it off of that bridge, but I have jumped off bridges in growing up, so it was we would do it a lot. So yeah.
Okay, so this, again, I think we all agreed was a very good documentary on the making of Jaws. What other movie that you haven't seen a documentary on yet, now it may exist, it may not exist, what movie would you like to see the behind the scenes documentary on? And I'll start with this one. For me, one of them is, there is apparently a very, very good documentary on the making of Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, that I have not seen. It came out in 2019, but it's kind of, it was never actually released. It was just kind of leaked, like a slow release out type thing of, it eventually got on Amazon Prime and eventually got on those different places, but I've never seen it. And that's one I really want to watch. The other I've got one more movie, but I'll go back around. So Pete, how about you? What would you want to see a documentary on?
Oh, I'm trying to think of this, because most of the movies that I really like do have pretty good documentaries out there that have been produced. So Steve, go ahead. I'm still trying to think of
it goes back to the one I mentioned earlier, Back to the Future. I know there's things out there, but things like growing up that really, like, I really enjoyed, that I remember, like, my group of friends talked about, it would be Back to the Future.
Yeah,
I know there's ones out there, like Psycho comes up. I know I've seen a few things about Psycho and how that came about. So if I want to go like classic. So, and I did enjoy this one, how they talked about how some of the Hitchcock things had come in, which I never had really thought about. So I found that interesting.
Yeah, I said I'm still trying to think of. There is I have the I don't think it's the Blu-ray, but I have the DVD box set of Back to the Future, and there's some pretty good documentary stuff on that. So you might want to look up on YouTube, because there's quite a bit on, obviously, the first movie in particular. Gosh, I'm trying to think what would be a movie that actually I wouldn't mind seeing a more detailed documentary, particularly on Jurassic Park. I know we got a lot out of the ILM documentary we saw. They showed a lot of behind the scenes, but I would love to see some more of the
actual actors type stuff, interaction.
Yeah, like the actors and like there must be like behind the scenes footage of filming and everything like that, because that was real early CGI. So it was kind of the first time people were like acting against these dinosaurs that weren't there, right? And how they got them to respond the way they did and everything like that. So I think I've never really seen a good documentary of that. And then I mean, there's a bunch of movies. I really like Casablanca. I've never seen a good documentary on Casablanca, so that would be another good one.
There's really not a good documentary on, partially because they wouldn't really probably didn't have much behind the scenes filming.
Yeah,
but they also were still writing the script as they were filming the movie.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I love, is the fact that they didn't know how it was going to end until like 2 days before they filmed it.
Right. Yeah.
So, the other movie I would love to see a documentary on is Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah, that would be an interesting one.
And again, there's clips, but I don't know that they've ever been compiled into especially like talking to Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, then some of Dan Aykroyd's memories then now of making it, how it basically cost the Chicago mayor her job. Yeah, you can go destroy Daily Plaza, sure.
There's a lot of crazy stuff in that movie, and you'd like to know how they that would be a fun movie to see, especially if they had behind the scenes footage. I don't know. I've never. You're right. I've never seen.
There's some, especially with like the mall such. There's some behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
There's a couple very good books on. I read one this summer. It's on basically on Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi and their journey to making the Blues Brothers, and then the actual making of the Blues Brothers. But again, it's a book, not necessarily a documentary. So I think what we're saying is, I think some of the older ones, especially like honestly some of the ones that had more of the practical effects to see how it's done, or as you said, like the Jurassic Park where they literally had tennis balls for the raptor heads.
Right.
So, or would have a raptor head on a stick and would hold it up around.
Well, especially like movies today, they shoot so much behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
I think of like the Lord of the Rings movies, which the behind the scenes of that is very interesting, but there's literally like hundreds of hours of footage
Yeah.
of behind the scenes from those movies. So when they released them on the extended cuts, they put 10
A lot
hours
of
of
it on there,
footage on on each DVD, and so and then the Blu-rays. So like more modern movies, there's when one hits big, they're able to put a ton of stuff out there.
Or,
But
like
these
all the
older
Marvel stuff where it's nothing but green screen.
Well, yeah, and then a lot of that is like, well, here's a shooting, and I the one thing with Marvel, I find like the Endgame stuff kind of interesting because like they did at like the final battle in Endgame, they got everybody, like almost everybody was actually there at the same time. So there's like
Right.
footage of like all the actors, and it's just like, as you say, it's just like rubble and then green screen.
Yeah.
but they're doing all their scenes kind of together, so it's kind of neat to see. But yeah, nowadays I think it's less interesting than it was back in even pre-Jaws. There's probably some movies I'm not even thinking of. Sound of Music, that's another interesting movie about how they shot that, but I think there's documentaries out there.
There
on
are
that
documentaries about that. I've seen several on that. Going back to some of the old ones, there's a couple on Gone with the Wind, but you don't want to dive too deeply into some of that stuff. With how they treated some of the actors.
Yeah.
Again, I would be interested to see like To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Would be interesting.
Is there a good Mary Poppins documentary? I mean, we watched that movie.
With all the stuff we have seen, I'm guessing there would be enough to put a good documentary of it together.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen like clips, but I haven't seen like the story of filming it. I mean, because even the Saving Mr. Banks isn't really the story of filming it; it's the story of developing it.
There is a special edition of 2020 that had the untold story of Mary Poppins.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing as an initial is the untold story of Mary Poppins, the special edition 2020. It is on Disney Plus, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll check it out.
So yeah, I just have my other screen over here, so I just pulled it up and maybe not. Okay.
Don't watch it right now.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's on there. Right. It's about an hour and a half episode of 2020 about the untold story of Mary Poppins. So
okay.
I don't know if that would go. I don't know if that's going to be a Saving Mr. Banks type untold story, if it's going to be a filming untold story, if it's going to kind of be glossing over of all of it. So
right.
I think it came out. No, it came out for the 60th, so it would have come out last year. So, any other comments on the Jaws at 50 documentary? I said it was what I thought was interesting was seeing how Steven Spielberg aged throughout the years, and seeing some of the pictures of like the very young Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah.
And the very, very, very young Marty Scorsese.
Yeah. I also thought it was funny that they brought George Lucas on at one point, and he had all the personality that he ever has in any of that Star Wars stuff. He's like, yeah, that Jaws movie, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting the competition between Dreyfuss and Shaw. How basically they would try and keep trying to one up each other, and if you look at it on film, you can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, their animosity towards each other was kind of very
apparent,
very present in the. I mean, it worked for the movie, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Was this in the documentary? Because I was reading, I can't remember if it was there, where the film editor took a scene that was originally filmed to be like for the horror aspect and turned it into a comedy scene just by the editing, and vice versa. Something that was supposed to be comedic, when they edited it so it's more suspenseful.
I have no idea, but that's not uncommon. But
yeah, I didn't see that mentioned in this wasn't mentioned in the documentary.
Because I was reading something that's like it starts to all blur together when you're hearing this.
I would have loved to see more of the John Williams piece in this. Was very short. Like they didn't include the whole, are you kidding me? That's really the theme you have.
Right.
I mean, if you haven't seen the other John Williams documentary, you haven't seen that. So to
Right.
me, especially because they were both National Geographic, you might as well, share your material. So
I did want to mention, we were talking about documentaries. One series that I've watched, not all of, but a lot of, on Netflix, they have this series called The Movies That Made Us. And I do believe there's a Ghostbusters episode there. If you have Netflix, it's called The Movies That Made Us. And it mostly is like, I know they did Home Alone, and it was a lot of 80s and 90s and maybe a few 70s movies. And they're pretty good I mean, they're like an hour long, but they get people that were involved with the movies to talk about them. Not necessarily a ton of behind the scenes footage, but I thought those were all, the ones that I watched were pretty good. They did like 2 or 3 seasons of it. So there's not
there's 3 seasons of it.
one is all horror movies, I think.
The last one has a bunch of horror movies. It's not necessarily, well, okay, it's horror movies. It has an elf in it. But yeah, the first season was Dirty Dancing, which there's one that's been overdone a lot. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's not very good on that one.
Yeah.
There's Home Alone, Ghostbusters, and Die Hard were the 4 in the first season. And Back to the Future is actually the first one in season 2. So I personally don't have Netflix.
There you go, guys.
But so, okay, as we always do, we rate things on cups of pixie dust out of 5 for the documentary Jaws at 50. Pete, what's your rating?
As a Jaws fan, I'm going to give this a 4 from me, because I thought it really did a good job of holding my interest, even though I knew a good portion of the facts there. There were a few new things, as I said, especially the talking to the locals that were in the movie and the actors. I hadn't seen a lot of that before, so I did enjoy it. Maybe as a non-fan, like not looking at it from the fan side, I'd probably more give it like a 3 to a 3.5. If you're not a big fan of the movie, it's still an interesting documentary. But if you're a fan of the movie, I think it's almost a must see. So, Steve?
Pete nailed it right. I'm giving it a 3.5.
Okay. I will admit I'm right on the fence between a 3.5 and a 4, to be perfectly honest, because I thought,
wow,
as a documentary, it is very, very good. And I think I'm going to go with the 4 on this, just because, as I said, as a documentary, it is very, very good. Would I necessarily hurry back and watch this again? No. Someone says, hey, you want to watch this documentary? Sure, I'll sit in with you. But as a documentary, as it was done very, very well, yeah, I mean, 3.5s and 4s it's a solid documentary.
Yeah, I think if you're a fan of the movie, but I think if you're a fan also of just how movies are made,
yes,
I think that it's a good documentary anyways, because it isn't just what they call an electronic press kit. It isn't just all, here's the happy, if you go on Disney Plus, they put them out for every single movie that comes out. They put a little behind the scenes, 20-minute, 30-minute version of every Marvel movie and Star Wars thing and everything. And it's all like, look at how wonderful this is and how great the cast is. And and those are interesting, but they're not really good.
No,
I think this was genuinely good. So
yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah. So, okay. Disney Plus news. No Kate this week, but there is some Disney Plus news. First one is that Disney Plus subscribers can now get a D23 Gold membership for free. So, no, I don't think it's the same Gold membership as the Gold paid membership.
It's not.
No, it's not, because we don't get anything. Yeah, there's no merch or anything like. Okay, we can buy the merch. There's no incentives that, like, pins and such that other members can select from.
Yeah. The what used to be the Gold membership, you would get like some kind of prize for the year, like a set of pins or something along those lines, and then you get the magazine every quarter. And I don't think you get that with this.
I'm wondering if they're
Good for
doing
you.
that so that way they can promote D23 and say, hey, if you like this, become a true member.
Right.
But they've also got D23 coming up this fall. So it may be one of those where
Well,
only people who have actually signed up through the Disney Plus will be able to then go watch the panels.
Oh, I wonder. Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, the actual this year's the Florida one, which they
Right.
called Destination D or whatever.
Whatever.
And that's all sold out. If you're going to it, you couldn't get tickets now.
But I bet
Yeah,
if
you might
sign
be
up
right.
for the
Maybe
panels.
Yeah, maybe they allow you to watch the panels on Disney Plus. That would be well worth it because
Yeah.
I've been to D23 and it's an interesting experience. It's not something I would rush back to, but I'd love to be able to watch the panels. I mean, you and I did a special last year on the
theme
parks
park
panel, trying to follow along from home, but they didn't broadcast the actual panel, so we were following along on like
and there was
Twitter
still a ton of stuff, especially after like the first hour when they actually started announcing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder, especially because I know I saw there's going to be a couple like into the Disney archives. Like there's one that was on like tonight, as we're taping on Tuesday. There was one tonight, and it's going to be shown again, I think either Saturday or Sunday. But those are going to be the only 2 times you can actually watch them.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if it's going to be you'll be able to live stream the panels.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that's a good point. So maybe I should join.
Oh yeah, I mean, I signed up. I mean, it's not going to get me much, but if it lets me at least, honestly, if it lets me watch the parks panel, it might be worth it.
Yeah, the only time I became a member was when we went out there for it, because you got discounts on the tickets for the actual D23. Most of the benefits of being the paid D23 member are California. So you got to be in California for most of them. So
yeah. Second, if you're in the LA area, which applies to Gina, Disney is hosting several themed pool parties to promote some of the throwback movies on the service. You can sign up for an opportunity to attend. Basically, I think it's honestly, a lot of it sounds like both data mining and I know there's been announced, and I think they've even started pre-production of a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids sequel,
right,
or reboot, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that one of the movies on this is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, so it may be
how much interest is there?
How much interest is there? But I mean, let's face it, with all the sequels that are coming out, because that's about all Hollywood's putting out lately.
Feels like it.
Or the streaming, or anybody goes, okay, to me, no one's wanting to take a chance of trying something and a bombing. They leave that to Pixar. And then third, Disney Plus has actually debuted a daily news program that's about 10 minutes long. It kind of goes with some of the Good Morning America crew, but I see it, and Steve can back me up, a potential answer to CNN 10, which is CNN.
I could see that. Yeah.
CNN basically puts out a 10-minute news program every day targeted at schools for like social studies classes, to show it in class. I know when I taught history, I would show it every day because it's important for kids to know what's going on in the world.
Right.
And at least the CNN one was very, 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 very neutral, which you may not expect for CNN, but it was very, very neutral, very, very, would do some like human interest type stories, but would not go deep into any kind of political commentary, which was nice. So,
yeah.
Okay. Next week, we are going to be watching Freaky Friday, the 2003 version with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan.
So have you seen this before, Derek? Because you really seem to not like it.
It's the principal thing. I've actually never seen this, but it's the principal of the thing with one of the two actresses.
Okay.
That was cute when she was little, and other than that, actually that could be both of them. So was cute when she was little, but other than that, I haven't liked anything she's done at all.
I can't say anything bad about Jamie Lee Curtis, my friend.
No. The cute when they were little was the
no, I know who you were talking about, but I'm just saying, like,
both of them.
like I'm not arguing your argument, but I'm saying
my argument would be she's not as good as an actress as her father was an actor. I will go with that one because Jamie Lee Curtis, her father was Tony Curtis, so
yes. And her mother was Janet Leigh. So
yes, yeah. So we'll be watching Freaky Friday because there is the Freakier Friday, which please let it flop so we don't have to watch it when it comes to the service. But
I don't know. I like it was maybe growing up at the
Jodie Foster version.
It's maybe growing up at the that one's really bad. I've seen both of the Freaky Fridays. I won't talk about this one. The Jodie Foster one is bad.
Yes.
Bad. So if someone had suggested we watch that one, I would have been against it. But this one I saw once, and I don't really remember much about it. So
I have not seen it.
Yeah, I think it has a very decom feel.
Oh, I'm sure.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not exactly a deep plot.
No, it's a body swap movie. There's like 3 variations on the body swap movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and this is the PG version of it.
Right. Well, most of them are pretty PG, but surprisingly, but you know, it's I don't know. It's as I said, I was trying to say, growing up in the 80s, there were a lot of them. so maybe I have a little bit of fondness for, like, they don't make movies like this anymore, where it's just like a silly.
They do. It comes out August 8th.
Well, this is true, but it's. I mean, I realize it's a sequel, but at least there's no one like no superheroes punching each other in it. So we got to give it some credit for that.
Yeah, fair enough. So. Guys, after this, we've got a couple more shows planned, but then there's not much coming out in August or September, or like most of the rest of the year is fairly thin. We will have Thunderbolts in there at some point. I'm almost certain. Elio will come at some point. Fantastic Four. Have you seen Fantastic Four, Pete?
I have not yet. I think I'm going to. I was really waiting to hear the reviews before, because I'm not that big a Fantastic Four fan, but the reviews are
not helping.
Oh, you don't think so? I think they've been pretty solid. So
no.
I was thinking we might go, but I did not Disney. I did really enjoy the Superman movie. So, you know, I don't know. But I'm a big James Gunn fan. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So, but if you have suggestions, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. Send us a message on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it's called these days. We have new episodes coming out every Thursday on YouTube and all the major podcasting services. For Pete and Steve, Kate and Gina, we miss you. We will see you guys next week, and we will see everyone next week. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com, or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thank Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.